Backgrounds are that we both have had some different restrictions ourselves with diets. I had food allergies, and so I had to learn how to cook differently. Sharon's husband as well has allergies, and so she cooks for him and does wheat-free dishes, bakes, does a lot of baking, wheat-free, yeast-free, sugar-free, oil-free, salt-free. We do whatever is needed. And we take people's whatever taste they have, if they don't like bell peppers or if they like spicy food. And we wanted to share some of the dishes that we have come across through recipes different books that we've seen. And we wanted to kind of expand just the idea that you need to have chips or veggie sticks to eat dips and spreads. And I also picked it because I thought it was nice and simple. We have such a busy lifestyle, fast-paced lifestyle, and I think that all of us come home and a lot of times we are really hungry and we want to find something easy to eat, quick to eat, and fast to prepare, as well as being nutritious. So tonight we have 6 different dips, and I think that we have, you all have handouts so you can see what they are. We have found that dips are great to use as fillers. A lot of people in the late afternoon, depending upon your body type, but I know I'm the type of person that when I get hungry really fast and right away, and I need to get something in my mouth. And I know that if I don't have something healthy to reach for, I'll tend to reach for whatever is available. Sometimes that's not always the case. So I like to always have things available, and I like to be able to motivate people to try and think a little bit ahead before you leave the house in the morning and maybe possibly try one of these dips or try a new dish, something that you have ahead of time you can take with you on the road and will be satisfying to you when you get hungry. I know a lot of us get home late in the afternoon, sometimes at dinner time, and you need something. Maybe people live out in Mililani, they work in town, maybe they have children who have soccer games or ballet or whatever, and so they're driving around a lot and they're not having a chance to get some healthy food in them. And this is where the dips and spreads come in, where what I do, and I believe Sharon does also as well, is in the morning I pack up a cooler and I head out on the road and I have snacks with me to sustain me throughout the day. I have 2 different dishes that we'd like to prepare today, and one of them is the black bean hummus, and then I'm going to do the gorgeous squash dish as well.
Starting up. Each of us prepared 3 dips for you tonight, and our goal was kind of to teach you and show you that it can be really easy. It doesn't have to be something that's really difficult. So you can do the long version, which is soak your beans, cook them, or you can open a can of good, healthy, organic beans. And that's what I'm going to show you, the short version. So that you can come home, you can throw it in a blender, and you're done with the cleanup and everything within 20 minutes. And you've got something good to eat. A lot of these dips, you can take them, water them down a little bit with either soy milk or rice milk or water or whatever your base is. And they can be a topping for a grain or a pasta. And they don't just have to be a dip. They can be in a wrap or a pita bread. It's just simple. It's full of protein, and we tried to do something different, not just eggplant dip and hummus, which you're probably all very familiar with. We did beet tonight. I did a beet dip, a black bean hummus dip, and a cauliflower dip. And Alyssa can tell you about her dips. And I'm going to show for you how easy it is to make this black bean hummus dip. Hold that. So this is, can you hear me with this? Two cups of black beans, some cumin powder, there's tamari and balsamic. Cumin powder, tamari and balsamic vinegar, and some garlic, and tahini.
This is easy.
This is really easy. This takes like 5 minutes.
What is that?
Tahini.
Tahini.
Sesame tahini. So this will be a little noisy. It's all done. You're done. You've got a protein meal right here. It's really simple. And of course, it takes a few more minutes to clean up, but we're going to do that in the back. But you know, something that one thing I just wanted to mention that might make your lives a lot easier if you have a really busy lifestyle is, I don't know how many of you have pressure cookers, but they're a wonderful tool. They cook in half the time. You can do your grains and your beans all within just minutes. So if you like to eat a lot of beans and grains, you might want to think about having that as a tool in your life, because it's really helped us, especially when we cook for people in their homes, to just shorten the time, and it makes the food have more vitamins and minerals in it because you have less cooking time.
I noted that you said you had a pressure cooker in the back. Do you use it often? You use it fairly often. Make life a little bit easier is to be able to have a food processor. I don't know how many people have food processors here. Quite a few. Okay. Do you tend to use them very often? Every day. Okay. Yeah. It seems like once you start using food processors, you see how much you can do with them. When we cook at people's houses, that's one of the first things we ask is, do you have a food processor? Do you have a blender? You know, those are like the two key things. Sharon and I both have an immersion blenders. I don't know if you've heard of those. I've got one with me, which I'll be using tonight. It's a stick blender. Yes?
The Vitamix just as...
Vitamix is wonderful. I highly recommend Vitamixes.
What is it?
It's a really heavy-duty blender that has a great engine on it. It's a lifetime warranty, I believe.
hot soup or ice cream.
Oh, yeah. They're wonderful. I'm sorry.
You started to say if you didn't have tahini and you didn't finish it.
I thank you very much. If you don't, I'm going to quickly go back to that. When Sharon was making her hummus, there's certain ingredients in here, and if you don't have tahini, you can use other kind of nut butters. It will change the flavor a little bit, but don't be daunted and not inspired to try something because you don't have a certain ingredient. Do we use raw or roasted tahini? And right. The butter turns out to be roasted or raw. Yes. I'm going to go in the back real quickly and get my things out for my dip, and I'll let Sharon field a couple questions while I'm doing that.
Oh, the tahini, I can't answer your question on that because I honestly don't know. From a personal standpoint, my husband, who has allergies, can only eat the roasted because he can't digest the raw very well. So something in the cooking process or the process of making one to the other for him is something that he can assimilate better. So, but we use cashew butter at home, we use almond butter, we use macadamia nut butter, we use any combinations. I put them in beans, I put them in spreads, I put them in muffins, I put them in everything. And that's what, we don't use butter hardly at all, or any kind of spread, whether it be a margarine or whatever. But just the value of having the protein. It's a wonderful protein food, the tahini. I don't know if any of you have tried it. Does anybody else have a question? Well, Alyssa's going to show you tonight one of the other dips that we're making, and it was a kabocha squash dip. Here's is this turned on?
The recipe for the kabocha squash starts out where you saute the kabocha in a little bit of onion and garlic with a little bit of oil. But a lot of, it's really good to use good quality oils. in your cooking and in just your daily diet as in general. And so I've learned that it's not good to heat oils up to really high temperature. So a lot of times what I try and do is, as often as possible, is be to steam, your food. So what I'm doing is I'll put a little bit of garlic and onion in the dish and then just cook it by steaming it with a little bit of water. And it's just like a 1/4 inch will work fine. And then if you get it hot enough, the water will evaporate, And then at that point, sometimes if the onions don't look translucent enough, then you can add a little bit more water as needed. And just keep cooking it until you see that the onions look like they're cooked. I found that you can, if you still want to use oil in your dish, what you can do is you can simmer it in a little bit of water, and then afterwards, when your dish is all done, then you can add the oil when it's off the heat, so that you're still getting the good quality oils, albeit whatever they are, if it's olive oil or an organic safflower oil or whatever. You can add it in afterwards, and then it protects the quality of the oil. Water and onions and garlic that I'm just simmering in a little bit of water. Okay. And I'm just trying to get it hot enough. When you make this dip, to make it cook faster, like anything, if you cut up, this is the kabocha, if you cut up the kabocha into smaller pieces, it's going to cook quicker. So if you need to make this dish really fast, then cut your pieces up as small as possible. And this is the pumpkin. I don't know if you folks have seen, I'm sure a lot of you probably eat kabocha squash, but if you're not familiar with it, this is what it looks like. And I go down into Chinatown and buy mine. Organic is great, but these tend to be kind of heavy, and some people that we cook for are really more concerned about money than organics. We do whatever people want us to do, and so sometimes we shop in Chinatown. And I go to this place called Paradise Grocery, and this nice lady picks out the squashes for me. Heavy. And because sometimes you'll buy them and they're more watery. I don't know if you folks have experience with this, but the better ones tend to be heavy, and they tend to be more gray in color. That's what she told me. So anyways, this is what the squash looks like. So the onions and garlic are simmering here, and I'm going to add the kabocha cubed. And what I did was, because I didn't want it to take too long, I partially cooked it at home. So anyways, this is just to show you how easy and simple it is. You simmer this for a while. And what I do when I am using this water method, a lot of times I will put everything in together. I can put in this is miso and the almond butter and some salt. And just, I brought the container of miso as well. Anyone wanted to know mellow white miso for this? So it's kind of the sweet miso, because there's a lot of different kinds, and I didn't know how often people cook with miso. Maybe they weren't aware of it. So when I'm cooking for people and I'm making this dip in their houses, and let's say they don't have a food processor or they don't have a blender, this is the tool that Sharon and I depend on. It is like our right arm, and this is the immersion blender. And what you can do, and I'm not going to do it tonight because Sharon has a really nice pan here that I don't want to scratch up, but I usually just put everything in together. So this is, again, the salt and the almond butter and the miso. And I'm cooking it all together. And then once it's cooked and soft, then what I do is I plug this in and I just blend it right in the pan. And just blend it till it's soft and creamy. And we'll do it in the food processor. And at that point, then you're done, just like Sharon's dish. If you're doing it in the recipe, like it said, you can do two things at once. Simmer the squash if you want to do it the traditional way, and then saute the onions and garlic. But I find this is much more healthful and quick, combining everything together. And Sharon and I find that that's really helpful when we're, in the business that we're in, just you're cooking like maybe 4 or 5 dishes at once. You're trying to find little shortcuts and ways to still prepare healthy food. One suggestion I found is I have several knives, but for some reason this knife, and I think it may be they call it a Mac knife?
Yeah.
Right. The question was, do we have any tips on how to peel it, because it's so hard to peel kabocha squashes. And I find that this knife, I don't know why, maybe it's the shape, it peels it really nice and really well. Basically what I do is I cut it in half, and then I just turn it on its side and start peeling it on one side, and then I turn it over and start peeling the slice on the other side. But if you buy organic, you can eat the outer, is it rind? I'm not sure if that's the right word. But organic, definitely you can eat it, no problem at all. It's a good source of fiber. So anyways, we'll put it in the food processor and we'll finish it up.
You can also take the squash and cut it in pieces, and what I do at home is just throw it in the pressure cooker for about 3 to 4 minutes, and it's done as soon as it comes down to pressure. And then measure out what you need and put it in the food processor with the rest of the things.
I'm not sure I know this one. Okay.
That's it.
So it's pretty simple.
You don't scrape it down a little bit because there's at the top.
Yes, you could.
And you most likely would.
Right. But for the sake of what we're doing, you could also look at it that adds a little bit of texture to it. Yeah. As I wrote in here, though, too, it's fun. One woman who I cook for, she really likes crunchy foods. And so she's asked me, and she's so creative, she's asked me to actually put, instead of serving it with carrot sticks or whatever veggies, she likes me to just chop it up. That's why I said you could put in some celery in here. So a lot of times I just put the celery actually in big chunks into the dip, and she likes to eat it just like by the spoonful. You can toast pumpkin seeds, that's really nice in there. And then the other day I had some extra cooked aduki beans, and I put it in to the dip, and it was just really delicious. So this, all of the dips that we have, I believe, well, I know the 3 that I made, a kabocha and the artichoke and white bean and the tofu spinach. They all have, they have protein in them if you add the aduki beans to this. So it's nice that you can make meals out of this as well as just having it for dips and spreads. Like the spinach, and it was kind of fun. I had made the spinach and tofu dip just kind of as a tester. Yesterday I was just wanting to kind of run it through beforehand, and it was so tasty. And I had some extra garbanzo beans which I pressure cooked, and I added the garbanzo beans into the dip, and then I had a baked potato, and I put it inside of the baked potato, and I had this great meal today for lunch. And it was just so simple. I mean, you can just take something and use it as a base, and then just kind of add something different. And then I do that sometimes too with the baked potato, where I'll take hummus, like regular hummus, or you could use this black bean hummus, and I'll saute up a little spinach and garlic. I'll take it off the heat, drizzle on some flax oil, and I'll put the baked potato, hummus, and then the spinach and garlic with a little bit of flax oil on it, and it makes a wonderful meal. So there's a lot of different ideas. For the different dips, like for this one, I think it'd be really nice in a wrap. I had a chapati, I forgot to bring it, but there's these special fat-free tortillas that are available only at Down to Earth. I can only find them. But they make wonderful wraps. And for this one, I can envision the kabocha dip with maybe some jicama, the white mung bean sprouts, maybe some shredded carrot, and just like red bell pepper. Those kind of flavors would go really good with the dip. With the artichoke and white bean dip, I could see like the black olives, arugula, maybe things a little more peppery. We have some in the back when you're ready to sample. We do have different kinds of veggies and different kinds of things that you can test to see that you can add variety, healthful variety to what you're going to be eating. I do have a couple things here. This is one chip, if you're going to go for the chips option. This is one that I found that's really helpful. It's baked chips. I don't know if you've tried them before. They're baked and salted chips. They're not really easy to find. Again, I'm not trying to promote the store, but I can only find them at Down to Earth. I shop quite regularly, both Sharon and I, at all the different health food stores, and this is one of the ones that I have to make a special trip to find, to go there to get these. And it's like they're baked 1 gram of fat for 12 chips. So it's you can eat a lot of these, and they're really nice and crunchy. And then I really like these for dips, where you can put layering again, where you could put a nice spread of whatever one that we have here. The black bean hummus would be great. Maybe then put on a nice slice of tomato, some sprouts, maybe a Maui onion. You could just keep layering it. It's kind of fun even if you like, I don't know, try the almond cheese or the different kinds of non-dairy cheese alternatives there are, and you could melt a little on top. So this is whole grain rice cakes. You can find this at any of the health food stores. A lot of the regular grocery stores have them as well in their, I think it's the health section. So these work really well also. So there's a lot of different things you can do.
A few things on the black bean hummus. You can use white beans, dookie beans, navy bean or a cannellini bean, 3-bean salad mixtures that are in the cans. Any bean works. That's what's really great about it. And at home we toss it, I thin it out with a little bit of water, and we toss it with pasta. So we get a rice pasta or some kind of wheatless pasta. Or we stuff, like we said before, we stuff it in potatoes, we put it on bread, we make pancakes, we eat it for breakfast, and we have it all different kinds of combinations. And for the beet dip, usually you have to get your beets, steam your beets. You can buy a can of beets. You can throw it in the blender or the Cuisinart or a food processor of some sort and make up the dip in a few minutes just as easily as you can. We've made up these dips for you. And also, I think I put down, I did, that you can toss this with pasta, the beet dip, and you'll get to try that in the back. And it's really wonderful on a pasta. It makes a really nice light meal, and it's not a heavy red sauce kind of pasta that puts you to sleep. And for the cauliflower dip, I don't know if any of you have seen the cauliflower. It's like a broccoli color, flower or something. But I made it once with that, and that's a very interesting taste. It's a little more bitter than a white cauliflower, but it has a wonderful taste to it, and it's really good on lettuce or in salads or pita breads with olives or onions or tomatoes, things like that. So,
dairy-free mayonnaise.
Yeah, they have, and you can make mayonnaise with tofu, vinegar, rice vinegar, or lemon juice. Just put it in a blender, and it makes the same kind of consistency.
What type of tofu do you use to make it?
The question is, what type of tofu does she use to make tofu mayonnaise?
Silken. Yeah. This.
Perfect timing.
This.
This is the tofu that I tend to use a lot in dips or in dishes where you don't really need a tofu flavor. You're trying to just kind of maybe imitate dairy, some sort of a cream sauce or something like that. This is a very mild, probably the mildest of all tofus there are out there. And I'm not necessarily saying that this is the best brand, but I just wanted to show you that it does come in a box. It doesn't need to be refrigerated. It's in the Oriental section of all the grocery stores, as well as the health food stores. And one thing I did want to mention, Sharon was talking about a cauliflower dip. She does a wonderful thing. with her dip, where she makes this beautiful, I was trying to find it too and I couldn't find it today to bring, but you can buy at the health food store. It's a flat bread. It looks like a long, and you can roll it up, almost kind of like make, I don't know if it's called aram wraps, but she will layer it with the dip, and she'll put tomatoes and lettuce and onions. Then she'll roll it up almost like sushi. And she has this great way where it looks like a burrito, but she rolls it up that way and it spirals inside. And then she puts like a little green onion and she wraps it and ties it with a green onion on the top. And it's just so pretty. So, there's, again, you just need to just be creative, and you can find all different kinds of ways to eat this.
In the newspaper it said flaxseed crackers. I thought we were going to get a recipe for that.
Yes. Well, Sharon and I make flaxseed crackers, actually, to order. But, yeah, you can try them in the back. We do have, the question was about the flaxseed crackers. She read it in the paper, and she was wondering about the recipe. We do dehydrate them. It's something that we do for our business. And they're a great source of fiber and the omega-3 fatty acids, and we just thought it was a great way for people to get that into their diet, because a lot of people don't know, maybe don't like the oil that much, or they're not familiar with how to get it in being vegetarian. And so flaxseed crackers are...
Sell them?
Yes, we do.
Great.
Yeah. So another question?
What type of tofu would you like the best? Is it like soft versus firm or extra firm?
I find that firm...
Oh, for the dips?
Oh, I'm sorry. The question was, what type of tofu do we like to use, soft or firm? And
Soft for me.
oh, okay. Well, we're divided. Sharon says soft, and I tend to use firm. So I guess it depends on what you're looking for, too, how firm you want your dip. I used firm today in the spinach tofu dip. And this will be great for you folks to decide as well, because Sharon used soft in hers. So you can make your own decision. One more question? We use soy in any of our dips, and yes, we do. I try to incorporate, a good source of protein as much as possible into my food. So I did use soy on, right, 2 of them. And if not, no, just one actually today. And then I used the beans in the other one. Yeah, and Sharon did as well. We can point that out to you in the back if you want when you come in and sample. Okay. Anything else? Anyone have any questions?
That's it.
Well, yeah, the flaxseed crackers. The question was, how do you make flaxseed crackers? You make flaxseed crackers by dehydrating them. You have to have a dehydrator. Yeah. And
What
so
are the ingredients to
flaxseed, tamari, or Bragg's. The question was, what are the ingredients? And we use lemon juice or rice vinegar. You can also, depending upon what your desires are, if you like your food spicy or not, you can add some cayenne pepper, coriander, cumin, chili powder. It really is what you desire, your type of flavors. We do top them as well, on the top with some sunflower seeds, tamari, roasted sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, or sesame seeds as well. So then you're getting some more nutrients and fiber.
Well, do you grind the flax seeds and then mix them with the
No, we don't. There's been some studies that if you grind flax seeds, that it can tend to go rancid, and the oils can tend to go rancid, and you don't want that. So when you're dealing with any kind of a heat situation, you don't want your flax seeds to be ground. We don't dehydrate them at a high temperature because we're trying to be aware of that. That you don't want your oils. They are dehydrated at low temperature to maintain the integrity and the quality of the flax seeds themselves and the omega-3 fatty acids within them. Yes.
Some people have a
The question.
friend that does that. I don't know.
The question is, can you grind the flax seeds in a mill before you eat them? And yes, you can. That's what a lot of people do. If you tend to grind it right before you eat it, keep the flax seeds. It's recommended in the freezer. If not the freezer, if it's too full, keep it in the fridge. It's best to keep it refrigerated for as long as possible before you use it. Some people will grind up a little bit and keep that little jar if they think they're going to use it for the week and put it in the fridge. It's great where you can put flax seeds on top of, I put it on my cereal in the morning, baked potatoes, whatever you're eating. But they're a great little nutty source of just texture change. And do I put the flax seeds themselves whole on? Generally, I grind them before I put them on because they're more easily assimilable as well if you grind them down. So you just have to be careful with them, take care of the nutrients, be aware. Yes? The pumpkin dip warm. You can, really, whatever you want. Generally, I serve it cool. But you can taste this warm if you want, and again, you can decide how you want it as well. Yes?
I've had a little trouble finding whole raw flaxseed.
Oh. Carl asked, where do you find flax seeds whole? And Hazel here in the front had said that her best find has been at Kukua. Price-wise and quality-wise. But it is available, I can tell you, at all the health food stores. Bulk, and most of them I know at Huckleberry, it's in a package as well. Yes?
Let us taste a sample of these wonderful products.
Yes, they're all just waiting in back there. The question was, can you taste the samples? Yes, and we have a table waiting with all kinds of dips and dippers.
Well, shall we, if there are no more questions, would you like to? If there are no more questions, let's thank our speakers. Let's thank Sharon and Alyssa. Are there any more questions? We have time for one more question. Yes, Yana.
Going back to the flax again, since we were talking so much about it, do you want to tell us a little bit about the benefits of omega-3 fatty acids?
Dr. Bill over here is the big expert, but there are two of those, and one of them is indeed rare and difficult to get in the diet, and it's amazingly plentiful in flaxseed. So it's very nice to... flaxseed is a very nice source of that one particular omega-3, is that correct? Fatty acid. Omega-6 is a little easier to get. Please?
I believe it's called gamma-linolenic fatty acid, and that's the one that... Alpha-linolenic. Okay.
So it's the alpha-linolenic acid that's a little bit hard to get in a diet and is available in large quantities in flaxseed. So thank you once again, and everybody file in the back and let's have something to eat.